what she is hearing in her community. So with that, Lindsay.
Thank you, Heather, and thanks for everyone for joining us today. I am Lindsay Dougherty, running in the 75th House District. That is just south of Richmond and includes the eastern part of Chesterfield, all of Hopewell City, and the northern part of Prince George. I am running because this isn't the first but second time that this president's chaotic approach to governing is impacting my ability to provide for my family. I was first furloughed in 2020 from my role as a budget analyst in Chesterfield County government due to the slow federal response and economic fallout to the pandemic. And so now I am a senior research administrator at Virginia Commonwealth University. And so I oversee a portfolio of grants that world leaders in muscular dystrophy have from the NIH and NSF. And so due to the executive orders decimating these research initiatives across the country, my current job as a research administrator is at risk due to these cuts. And so what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing across my districts and across the Commonwealth is that my neighbors are also losing their jobs and losing their ability to provide for their families. And when you couple that, with just overall unemployment claims going up, prices going up, with no end in sight, quite honestly, to this manufactured chaos that's happening from our president, we need a delegate that will be a very strong brick in this firewall that need to protect our families across the Commonwealth. And so with that, I'm happy to kick it over to Delegate Clark, and I'll take questions later. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. My name is Nadarius Clark, delegate representing the 84th District here in Virginia, which is part of Suffolk, Chesapeake, Franklin, and Isle of Wight County. And I'm so proud to represent and listen to my constituents across Hampton Roads. And right now, we've been hearing so much frustration about the chaos that's coming out of Washington. In my background, I also work in healthcare. I help community clinics and mental health facilities navigate what's happening on the federal level, but ultimately, what we're hearing in our communities is the fear that people are hearing. Hampton Roads, we have the largest naval base down here. We have a huge military family community. Myself, I grew up, my dad and my granddad both served in the Navy, and it's just so sad to see what's happening to our federal workers and to our veterans down here in our communities. And folks, worrying about if they're going to be one of that 300,000 that's going to lose their health care due to this big, ugly bill. So, recently I've been out knocking doors. I've been having community events, and the things that we've been hearing about is, the concerns of healthcare, the concerns of community clinics being shut down, the concerns of the federal workers being laid off. But even, talking about the cost of living, senior care and child care is a lot of issues what we're hearing here in the 84th District. And we know that Virginia Republicans will run that same playbook here in the Commonwealth if we do not hunker down and make sure that we, run through the tape November 4th. We have to protect our seats and expand our majority. I'm so happy that we have 100 candidates running all throughout the Commonwealth. That shows the momentum that we have, the engagement that we have right now. And here in Hampton Roads, we're doing the work. We're knocking doors. We're bringing folks together, and to make sure that we can deliver for families in Richmond. So we're going to continue to fight to raise teacher pay, to invest in our public schools, to lower the cost of housing, to make sure that healthcare is accessible to all folks, to make sure we're tackling the grocery prices, and also to make sure that we're making our communities safer. We know that this administration has attacked gun violence prevention, and we know in the Commonwealth we have seen gun violence sadly increase. I'm happy to chair the Firearm Committee and co-chair the General Assembly's Gun Violence Prevention Caucus, but we know we have an uphill battle as we try to mitigate some of the blows that's happening. I'm proud that Speaker Don Scott has started the Special Select Committee for the federal workforce and veterans to address what's happening in real time. And I know they already been hard at work. But I'm proud to also run alongside our statewide Democratic ticket that's willing to stand up and fight for our working families. So our next Lieutenant Governor, Senator Ghazala Hashmi, I know she will fight to improve our lives every day. She has been a partner in the General Assembly and a tireless advocate for working families since she's been elected in the state Senate. But without further ado, our next Lieutenant Governor, Senator Hashmi.
Well, thank you so much, Delegate Clark, and good afternoon to everyone who's joining us. Thank you all for being here. I am State Senator Ghazala Hashmi, and I'm currently in my second term in the Virginia Senate. I represent the city of Richmond and surrounding localities, and prior to running for office, I spent nearly 30 years working in higher education as a college professor. This past June, in mid-June, I faced a competitive primary with 5 other Democratic candidates and secured the Democratic nomination for Lieutenant Governor here in Virginia. And I'm honored, so honored to be DLCC's spotlight candidate for the Lieutenant Governor's race. You know, in Virginia, we don't run as a ticket, and so I am facing a Republican challenge that has already devolved into name calling and distractions rather than focusing on the issues that Virginians really care about. This Lieutenant Governor's race is going to be a competitive one, and it will also be critical to continuing the progress that we have made here in Virginia, since, as you heard, the Lieutenant Governor's holds the tie-breaking vote in the state Senate, and we currently have just a 1-seat majority in the Senate. So given the reality of what's happening now in Washington, D.C., the role of state leaders is become even more important and more vital. And I have been hosting and attending several town halls this year, and I've heard so many heartbreaking stories about how Trump's reckless layoffs of our public civil service workforce has hurt countless Virginians' families. And just this morning, as chair of the Senate Education and Health Committee, I joined Congresswoman Jen McClellan and several advocacy organizations to discuss the harm and the hardships that our rural communities in particular will be facing as our hospital and our healthcare systems are impacted by the reckless cuts to Medicaid funding. Virginia's current governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general have simply abandoned their constituents and their responsibilities to respond to the crisis that's facing our federal workforce, our veterans, and vulnerable Virginians. And my opponent, John Reed, actually supports Trump's federal job cuts, which have had disproportionate and devastating impacts on Virginia's economy and on our working families. John Reed, we know, he's already publicly declared this, would also break any ties to ban abortion and break ties to slash funding for our public schools. In Virginia, we can't risk the possibility of electing John Reed. We must maintain and grow our Democratic legislative majorities, and we need new statewide leadership that's going to move us forward, that's going to protect our families, and that's going to chart important course and response to the chaos that we see in Washington in these next 4 years. And that's why I'm running for lieutenant governor. Thank you so much. And